the Irish.
I don't think there's any debate as to who should be the number 1 overall seed. That's Villanova. Again, they are the defending national champions, of course, and it's the wow. They're looking to become the first team to repeat since Florida did it back in 2006 and 2007. Al Horford, Joakim Noah, and those teams looking to become the 4th number 1 overall seed to win that title. As you see, the others that have done it, 8-1 odds to win it. Not even the favorites.
No.
Duke is actually the
Duke,
favorites.
Carolina, there's plenty of teams that higher than 8-1.
Even though Villanova is the overall number 1 seed, that seems a bit surprising to me that they're not even the shortest odds on the board.
Right.
Do you think, obviously they can, but will Jay Wright and company repeat?
I don't think they will. My pick is Kansas, and it's been that way for a little while. The early exit from the Big 12 tournament didn't push me off of my pick for any reason. I love Villanova. I think Jay Wright's a hell of a coach. I love Josh Hart. I think he's just such a great player. What Brunson means to this team, sort of taking on the Arcidiacono role of last year's team. You're always going to miss a coach on the floor like Arcidiacono, but I think, Brunson has kind of taken some of that over. And Josh Hart is just one of the more tremendous players we have in college basketball, if not the best player. He's in the handful of best players we have in all of the NCAA tournament. I just don't think they get it done. I think it's a tough draw.
Yeah, that East draw is not easy, obviously, as you would take a look at the big board here. And if you had a pick, and it could be Duke, and we know if Duke comes out of their bracket, and that's the 1-2 matchup in the Elite Eight.
That's the way it goes, Dave. I think it winds up going chalk till we get Villanova-Duke. And
well, Duke's bigs are going to give anybody a problem. Villanova has got great guard play; they always have, as you mentioned. But Duke's bigs could be a real problem. And I think that's why some people thought
Tatum is that X factor because he's got size, he's confident on the ball, he's had just such a great last month of play that has fueled his confidence. I look at a guy that's just a nightmare of a matchup problem for Jay Wright and Nova.
Yeah,
look, I've said it over and over again. I think Kennard is tremendous. He's a shot maker. He's got those steely nerves that when they're down 2, he loves shooting a 3, and he tends to make those shots. Grayson Allen playing a lot better, and we heard Coach K after the Notre Dame game yesterday where they wrapped up the ACC conference tournament title. They said, he said, Grayson Allen's back. That's what he said.
Wow.
And it looks that way. It certainly looks like a kid that has taken the lumps of his learning lessons and matured from them at least a little bit and getting his groove back. And the bigs that you mentioned, when you have Emil Jefferson playing the way he was playing, a do-it-all guy on the defensive end coming up with, 5 blocks against Notre Dame yesterday, and that senior leadership. But Tatum is that guy. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's athletic, he can shoot, he can stretch, and knock down a 3 if you need to. He can get in the lane and create, and he's a good defender. I think, obviously, he's really lived up to the billing. Giles, not as much, but Giles is still a really good player. I just think Jason Tatum is going to prove too much for Villanova. I think it gets chalk down to the Elite Eight right there, and that berth to the Final Four, I just think goes Duke's way.
If Villanova or Duke does not at least meet in that Elite Eight matchup, I'll be stunned, because to me, that's the class right there. That might be the best 1-2s of any of the seasons.
SMU's a sexy pick out of the East. People have some faith in Baylor still. People have faith in, Virginia or Wisconsin because they're name brands. To me, it's down to 2 teams.
Agreed, and I do think Duke, even though, as we saw from the committee, they're basically the 7th best team out of this group, the third number 2, if you will.
Third number 2,
right? I think they have the most talent, Kentucky, Kansas, of anybody in the field when fully loaded,
Sure.
And now it feels like...
They were the preseason number 1,
right?
For a reason. They were, Grayson Allen was the preseason ACC Player of the Year.
So while Villanova is the number 1 overall seed, the committee didn't necessarily do them any favors. You got to have a 2 in there, I get it. But Duke might be the toughest of the 2s.
I agree with you. If I throw Arizona, Kentucky, and Louisville at you, I'd probably take Duke as the best of the 2 seeds.
If I'm Villanova,
and Villanova, who's the number 1 overall seed, and
should get the worst.
They should get the worst.
It didn't happen that way.
It is a little strange, especially when you consider the fact that you could, who knows? And there are other teams where you say, well, maybe the number 1 overall, the number 1-2 seed was put in a certain region because that's where they play,
right.
Or Arizona gets that West bracket and they're the 2 seed out there, and that makes sense geographically.
And it is as wide open. These 1s and 2s are as close as you can really get.
To put a button on it, Duke is the toughest of the 2 seeds, and that is a tough draw for Villanova, who should have got the best draw. But everyone else in there, This isn't a
agreed.
bracket that scares the hell out of me because of
Just
their
the 2 seed.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's not a lot of danger there.
I agree.
The big danger lies in the bottom of the bracket with the 2 seed and Duke. And that's
And if you
where
get to the
Villanova-
Elite Eight, then you got to beat the best of the best anyway. At
some
some
point, you got to beat a team that's got a tremendous amount of